second.
Okay, it's October 22nd. It's 5:04. We're going to open up the Finance and Appropriation Committee meeting. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So we have the minutes of a meeting from June 24th. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at those minutes? Basically, it was we had some transfers from the accounts just before the fiscal year kicked in. Questions or anything?
I wasn't here, so
Yeah, okay.
I'll say we're good.
So, Ann, do you want to make a motion on this?
I make the motion, accept the minutes.
I second.
All right. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, next order of business, we will open up the public hearing at 5:05 on the fall town warrant. Does anybody have anything they want to come on up and talk about on a warrant at all? Chief, do you have something?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Just for information for the board's purposes, I got an updated quote for the pickup truck, which would be under Article
4.
4.
Yep.
Yes, so it's between 49 and 50,000. Comes in around 49.8. So, and I spoke to the administrator today, so I don't know how it'll work, the final numbers, but we should have all the money within.
So, yeah, 51 will be enough on that, okay. And you still have about the same in the revolving account?
Yes,
13, okay.
yes. And that was the thing, I don't know if he'll be talking about it or not, if he wants to make an adjustment with free cash or not, or change something, that'll be up to him, whatever he decides, but I think the money should be there to cover it all.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any questions or otherwise?
Do you have any questions on that?
No, sir.
questions.
All right.
No question. All right,
Very much,
thank you.
appreciate it.
Very good. You good? Okay, so no other business for public business? Okay. Well, then it's 5:06 and we'll close the public hearing. Okay, so what I'll do is, we'll just kind of, if you guys want, we can take them all at once and vote on all of them, or we can just go through each article and make a motion on each article. You want to do that? And if there's any
Whatever
questions?
works for you.
Okay, so we'll go through each article then. So Article 1 is basically just a housekeeping article that's always on the board. We'll make a recommendation to approve it. Does anybody have any issues with that at all?
No, sir.
All right, same thing with Article 2.
So, I'm sorry, did somebody make a motion?
So, yeah, I'll need a motion on both Article 1 and Article 2.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to move to approve Article 1 as printed in the warrant.
Okay?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good, Article 1 is passed.
So I can motion Article 2 to
Sure.
approve as printed in the warrant as well.
Sure.
I second.
All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Article 2. Article 3, this is, this article has been put into the warrants quite a bit, I don't know, over the last few years. It's not it's an article that's really not necessary, because if we pass this article, we're basically passing the entire budget, if you read it.
Yeah.
So, pretty much, it's an article that really should be passed over. That way we can actually go through each article at the town meeting. And if you read the motion there, it basically says that we'll be acting upon it independently. So,
Then, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to pass over Article 3 as each article will be acted upon independently on the warrant.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. Is there any discussion on that? Any questions on what we're doing? Okay.
Sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, Michelle, on that, is it gonna be printed? We're not recommending an approval on that.
Article 3?
Yeah. So we just recommended to pass
Pass
over.
over.
Pass over.
Okay, all right. All right, Article 4, the chief just spoke about it. It's the police cruiser. He says it's probably gonna come under 51,000, a little under, but if it does hit 51, we got it there. 13,000 is gonna be from a transfer from his account, and the other 38 will come from free cash. If anybody wants to.
Mr. Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $13,000 from Police Cruiser Fund account 0912005780-00 and $38,000 from free cash for a total sum $51,000 for the purpose set forth in Article 4 of the warrant.
I'll second.
Second, is there any discussion on that?
Nope.
No, ma'am? Nope. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Article 4? Aye, all right. Article 5 is the street sweeper. Basically 225,000, and that's going to be, looks like it's gonna, be debt excluded possibly in the spring. Any questions on it? Do I really gotta read that motion?
No.
Huh?
Just read it. Just
The
move.
whole motion at the town? Yeah.
Oh, at the meet, oh, yes.
Would it be
it's
like
town
this?
meeting.
Bam, bam, oh my God.
Then I'll take the burden off you here.
Pass over the,
Yeah, pass out, okay. Does anybody want to make a recommendation on Article 5?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to appropriate the sum of $225,000 purpose set forth in Article 5 of the warrant, and that to fund this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount pursuant to General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7 or 8, or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes of the town therefore. Any premium received upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the costs of issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payment of the costs approved by this vote in accordance with General Law, Chapter 44, Section 20, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs be a like amount.
Is there a second on that?
I second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
that mark.
Can you repeat that? That's exactly what the moderator's gonna do to me. Any discussion on it?
No.
No? Okay, we're good. All right, Article 6 is the guardrail replacement. That's gonna come up to 14,402.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to move the transfer of the sum of $14,402.00 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 6 of the warrant. I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion on this at all? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Did we, yeah, we voted on Article 5, right? Yeah,
We just had a motion and second discussion.
we didn't vote on that? Article 5?
You didn't get it unanimous.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll take it back to Article 5. There was a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion on Article 5?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, Article 7 was for the Highway Department. It's $9,300 for a waste oil heater.
Mr. Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $99,300 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 7 of the warrant.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Article 8 is the purchase of, this is the final purchase of the fire gear for $24,600. It's the final 12 sets of fire gear.
I'll make a motion on this one to move to transfer the sum of $24,600 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 8 of the warrant.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Article 9 is fire department, and it's going, they want to transfer, hold on, available, so they're gonna borrow or transfer $8,000 to put into the fire overtime account.
Chair, I make a motion to move to transfer the sum of $8,000 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 9 of the warrant.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Article 10, another one from the fire department. This is to transfer or borrow from available funds, the sum of $8,000 to fund the fire salary account.
I'll make a motion to move to transfer the sum of $8,000 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 10 of the warrant.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on this? Okay, seeing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Article 11, this is for the Management Information's Director. This is the $25,000 to finish the network computer in the town hall.
Chair, I make a motion to transfer the sum of $25,000 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 11 of the warrant.
Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Article 11 passes. Article 12, Treasurer Collector. This is to raise and appropriate, borrow from available funds of $112,500 for the maturing debt from the roof that was being replaced and the HVAC system. It's anticipated, and we've already discussed this before, but it's anticipated that they're gonna go for a potential
Because this is what we're
debt
only,
exclusion.
we're
and
only paying principal on it, or interest on it, I'm
only
sorry.
right now, and it's anticipated that we're gonna try to get a
debt exclusion,
debt
right,
exclusion
that's right,
in the
okay.
fall, in the spring.
Okay.
Does anybody wanna?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, move pass over Article 12.
Second, sorry.
Okay, any discussions on this one? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Article 13. Again, from the treasurer collector, this is a transfer or borrow from available funds, $50,000 for the maturing debt account for the purpose of paying off the LED streetlight conversion project. And the funding to pay this off was from a grant that the Green Communities Compact provided us to do these things.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to move the sum of $50,000 from the Green Communities Grant account to the maturing debt account for the purpose set forth in Article 13 of the warrant.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Article 14 is another one from the treasurer collector, the raise and appropriate and borrow transfer from available funds, the amount of $31,420 to put in the insurance general account.
Chair, I make a move to transfer the sum of $31,428 from free cash to the insurance general account for the purpose set forth in Article 14 of this warrant. Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? No discussion. This is easy. Article 15, treasurer collector. Oh, do we vote? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, passed. Okay. Article 15, treasurer collector. This is to vote to transfer the sum of $38,988 from $20,530.46 will come from retained earnings of the water department, and sewer department, it will be $18,458.11. And the purpose is for funding the additional health care costs that's expensed to the general fund.
Chair, I make a move to approve Article 15 as printed in the warrant.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 16, it's the Conservation Commission, it'll be transfer of funds, or free cash in the amount of $1,643 to increase the Conservation Commission's clerk salary.
Mr. Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $1,643 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 16 of the warrant.
Okay,
Second.
okay, there's a second. Any discussion on this? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Article 17, Board of Assessors. This is to borrow, transfer from available funds the amount of $305.45 to the assessor's expense account.
Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $305,045.45 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 17 of this warrant.
What was the amount? Did I get that?
305.
305, okay.
300.
I thought you said 1,000 in there. I was like, okay.
That would be nice.
Okay, so $305.45.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this article? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved. Article 18 is the water and sewer. This is involve any money. It's just a change.
Oh, yeah, to change the deed on that land,
The
yeah.
resident, we had a covenant, an old covenant,
Yep.
an old water pipe he
Yeah.
wants to take out.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Article 18 as printed in the warrant.
Second.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, you guys don't want to defer this to the selectmen? We can do either one.
What's the difference between us accepting it,
Well,
making
it's-
a motion and deferring it?
Well, I can get up and make, anybody can make a motion. I can get up and make the motion. I can't make a recommendation from FAA because it doesn't involve any money.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
I
so I
understand.
can't, if you guys want, we can either defer to the Board of Selectmen, let them make the motion, or I can get up and make the motion for the Board of Selectmen if you want, so. Either one.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to defer this to the Board of Selectmen for the motion.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense, yeah, since it doesn't involve any money.
Okay. Do we have a second then?
Oh, okay, so yeah, second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 19, Water and Sewer Department. This is the $125,000 to continue the Phase 3 of the mandated inflow and infiltration study. And I will say, if anybody wants to make a recommendation on this, if you want to just recommend to approve the article, that's fine. If you want to read the entire motion, we can do that also, so either way, it would be good, so.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to appropriate the sum of $125,000 for purpose set forth in Article 19 of the warrant, and that to fund the appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount pursuant to General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7 or 8, or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes of the town therefore, any premium received upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the costs of issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payment of the costs approved by this vote in accordance with General Law, Chapter 44, Section 20, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount.
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion on this?
Mike, just for my benefit,
Sure.
On the two-thirds vote, what is that?
This requires, it requires, since this is coming out of, retained earnings, retained earnings requires two-thirds vote instead of a simple majority of
Okay.
51%. It requires two-thirds of the voters to
Oh, okay.
authorize money coming out of either retained earnings or stabilization,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Okay. All right, was there a second on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any discussion again on 19? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Article 19 passes. Water and Sewer Department again, this is to transfer, raise or transfer, borrow, $100,000, $50,000 from water retained earnings and $50,000 from sewer retained earnings. This is for the new radio readers and bases, or take any action there too.
Chair, I move to transfer $50,000 from the water retained earnings and $50,000 from the sewer retained earnings for a total of $100,000 for the purpose set forth in Article 20 of the warrant.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Michelle, did majority vote on this one too?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, because this is retained earnings as well.
I'm not sure. I'll check for you. I'll check.
Okay.
This is a town council.
Is it under a certain amount?
Town council vote, yeah.
Right, right. Is it under a certain amount? Maybe you can ask them?
I'll ask.
Okay. Okay, Article 21. It's another water department. It's to borrow, transfer from available funds, or raise from available funds, $900,000. This is for Pump Station 3, water system, all the permitting and testing and drilling that goes with that. If you want to read through the whole article, you know.
Before we go to that, did we have a vote on the last article?
No.
We didn't? How am I going by this so fast? Okay, I'm sorry. So Article 20, we did have a second, there was no other discussion. Okay, all in favor on that? Say
Aye.
Aye, okay, sorry. Good catch.
Thank you.
Article 21 is the $900,000 to do that pumping station 3 and the well field station 1.
Mr. Chair, can I make the motion, just the first sentence of this?
Sure.
I move to appropriate the sum of $900,000 for the purpose set forth in Article 20.
Okay, that's acceptable. Does anybody want to second that?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion on this at all? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Boy, the town lawyer really likes to write this stuff up, huh? Jeez. All right, Article 22. This is the transfer, $5,377.95 from the Board of Health clerk account to the following accounts. $2,123 to the fire chief account, $1,568 to the assistant fire chief account, and $1,686.95 to the library youth services account.
Chair, I make a move to transfer the sum as set forth in Article 22 of the warrant.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion on this article?
Is it within our purview to know what the monies are used for? Like as far as the chief account and the assistant chief account? Is that just to salary?
Yeah. So that'll
Kind
show.
of like bonus money or something?
No,
like that? It's
no,
just like salary?
no. Yep.
Thanks.
Any other questions on it? Okay. All right, No other questions? Let's take a vote. All in favor of Article 22, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Article 22 passes. All right, Article 23. This is transfer of $5,000 from the Buildings and Grounds account to the compensated absence account. So basically transfer, there's no free cash on this.
Mr. Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $5,000 from the Building and Grounds account to the compensated absence account as set forth in Article 23 of the warrant.
Second.
Any other discussion on this? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Article 24, this is to raise and appropriate borrow or transfer from available funds the amount of $30,000 to be put in the legal expense account.
Mr. Chair, I move transfer the sum of
Yeah.
$25,000 for free cash set forth in Article 24 of the warrant.
Is that a misprint?
That
I was
might-
gonna say, it was 30,000 in what you originally read, and
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
which one?
30 in the article and then 25 in the motion.
It's probably just a misprint.
Yeah, it's 30 on the
Yeah, because
spreadsheet as well.
that's only my motion, so that was approved that the selectmen voted for that one, for the 30. Yeah, and he's showing it here, so that's a misprint.
So it'll be 30,000.
Yes.
Then I'll amend my motion to transfer the sum of $30,000 from free cash and set forth in Article 24 of the warrant.
a second.
Okay, any discussion on that? We'll wait for Michelle to get back on, but she's might be talking.
Right.
He might have. That, the 30?
Scrivener's error, it's 30.
30, yeah. Okay, all in favor for that? Say it.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Article 25, Board of Selectmen's article. These are unpaid bills so far from last year, totaling $22,941.07. The first four payments are to the WGL Energy. I think last meeting, Jonathan kind of told us what was going on with that.
Solar.
So, yeah. So very interesting there. And then you get a couple small bills here from Harrington Hospital and KP Law.
Chair, I move to transfer from free cash the sums listed in Article 25 of the warrant for purposes of paying unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year as set forth in Article 25.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion on this? This kind of article, you're paying unpaid bills from prior year, I believe it's 4/5, right?
Four-fifths.
So 4/5 will pay back bills that accrued last year.
Okay.
Okay? I can imagine there's gonna probably be some questions on that at the meeting. Okay, no other questions on
No,
that?
sir.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Article 26 is the pilot agreement for a solar field on 196 Oxford Road, Dudley. To this point, you guys already know that we don't have anything written here for an agreement, so it would be wise of us to make recommendations based on no agreement. So if the article is gonna go forward, probably defer this to the selectmen to make the motion. Or I can make the motion myself, we can, I can get up and make the motion if you want.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to defer to the Board of Selectmen for the motion.
Do I have a second on that?
I don't like the wording in it. I think it gives them too much power to make decisions and accept, agreements without any kind of oversight, so to speak. besides the
Respectfully, Mr.
five.
Chair, you need a second before we can have a discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I can second,
Yeah,
Yeah, we can
discussion.
talk about it.
and then we can talk about it, okay.
Okay, so we do have a second. Okay, so discussion on this. Go ahead, Maggie.
So I just have I have a little bit of an issue with them being able to enter and execute, an agreement of this potential magnitude without any kind of oversight aside from, the 5 Board of Selectmen members. I mean, if the motion passes, it won't be
Right.
on our recommendation, I guess, but.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I say, without an actual agreement to actually look at or see any financial numbers, it's not wise of the finance committee to make a recommendation to the town saying, yeah, go enter this or don't enter it, because we don't know
There's nothing
what it
there,
is.
right.
Again, these articles are written a couple different ways. The article, the way it's written, is perfectly legal, and it's done in many other towns. The town feels it's fine to allow the selectmen or the town administrator, whoever wants to negotiate a pilot agreement, to do it, and then, if it's satisfactory to them, they enter the agreement and go forward. Other towns and other ways of doing it is just to, you see the third sentence there, it says negotiate and enter into agreement. Other towns do not have the word enter in there. They allow the selectmen or town administrator to negotiate something, come back to the table in the following meeting and say, this is what we negotiated. Give people the chance to ask questions and let the people vote on it. So it's done either way in a lot of towns, so. I think we've done it both ways in our town here.
So general law states that they can,
Yeah, so so basically, if the at town meeting, they want the selectmen to go forward and do everything themselves, that's up to the people there that vote. If it's, if people wanna see the agreement, come back and know what's in it and how much it is and some particulars, they have a right to they'll strike that out, or somebody will have to amend this and then do it that way. I've seen, and
so I guess what's the motion what's the article if it's general law already states that they can,
Well,
they
the
can
only
enter
thing that
it,
can happen on the
negotiate and enter into
The
it.
only thing that can happen on the floor is that somebody can get up and amend it. So, if we, as FAA, we defer to the Board of Selectmen to make the motion, then somebody would have to get up, it could be any of us, as private citizens, or anybody in the audience could get up and say, we would, we amend this and take that language out. And if that happens, then this comes back up in the spring. And if it doesn't, then the selectmen will make their own decision what they want to do.
Okay.
Personally, for me, I don't say this as a member of the FAA, personally, for me, I think it's, with these solar agreements, and you see at these town meetings that we go to, when we have bylaws, or we have a lot of people now, a little, not so happy about these things. So I think the transparency of bringing it in front of the town meeting is much better than not.
Well, I think there's a pretty big potential of a pilot agreement being made for a, certain industry that could be coming into Dudley.
Right, so
And that
again,
could be a pretty big pilot agreement.
right. So,
So, that would be my concern. The solar fields, not as much, although they are popping up all over the place, but
yeah, there's not too many more. We've already got
there's gotta be not a lot of land left.
This is private land.
yeah, it's private land, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, most of it is. I mean, we
Oh, it
really don't
is,
have
yeah.
anything on public land other than we possibly have something at the old recycling, the old landfill.
I'm working on it.
So I just have one other question. So if it's, the Board of Selectmen can negotiate and enter in, does that have to be a unanimous vote by the Board of Selectmen for the pilot agreement as well then?
I believe it's majority vote on that.
So it'd be
Or so,
majority
yeah.
vote versus
Usually
unanimous. And right
majority
now,
vote.
we only have 5 Board of Selectmen, correct?
Yeah, so
So 3 people. would
majority
have to
of
agree.
the members that attend that vote. So if you're missing somebody,
Mr. Chair, for clarification, under the general law that governs this, is it safe to say that there are 2 ways listed? One way is the town can keep their authority to vote on it, or they can authorize the selectmen to vote on it
Right.
on their behalf.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way it's written, if this article passes as written, it will be, that's the selectman and our town administrator and whoever's gonna be in charge of negotiating this. They can negotiate the whole thing, and then the selectmen can go forward with entering to whatever agreement they negotiate.
Without the town's approval, because they already authorized
Well, yeah,
them,
because you're approving them with this article.
giving them the power to do it.
Yeah, the only other way you can do it is to take the word, and somebody has to amend the word, this article, and take the word enter.
That's,
Move the word enter, and then then it's required to come back in spring with a negotiated agreement. It's gonna be an addendum to the warrant.
and it's that simple.
Basically, that simple. So you either wanna have it in two phases and have a say on it, or just let the selectmen negotiate it by themselves. So whichever.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, it looks like they're only looking to negotiate, enter into it for just this one particular solar facility located at
Yeah,
Whitney.
yeah,
So
right.
this isn't opening up the town to them having unlimited access to enter.
No,
you know,
no, this is only
negotiate and
one
enter.
specific
This
piece
one
of property,
specific.
yes, yeah.
So outside of this one specific piece of property,
Yeah.
the pilot agreements would still have to pass through the town?
Yeah, pilot agreements, if there's a new
Understood.
pilot agreement, it has to come back up as a warrant article.
Okay.
Okay? So do we have a recommendation here? Does anybody want to make a recommendation? Well, we already made a recommendation
motion
to
and
defer.
second.
Is there any more discussion on this?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're getting to the end here. Article 27, this is a transfer, $6,000 from the town administrator's salary account, and the purpose is to pay for the ClearGov software.
Mr. Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $6,000 from the town administrator's salary account for the purpose set forth in Article 27 of the warrant.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Do we have any discussion on this?
I don't think we need to do this.
Okay.
That $6,000 would be much better served than one of our contingency accounts.
Jonathan's not still here, right?
He is.
Oh,
Would be
don't tell him
nice.
I said that.
No, that's fine, because I'm a little leery on this, too.
You know, it,
Do you want me to go get him?
If he can talk more clearer about this thing.
Thank you.
I just don't see it driving the additional foot traffic that, to warrant spending $6,000 for the first year, mind you. And then, like, administratively over the next, each year, it's gonna cost money.
Do we have to follow through each year, though?
No, I mean, we can do 1 year and walk away if we
Right.
didn't like it, or if it didn't do what we were hoping it would do,
Okay.
I believe.
Thank you for joining us. There's a little bit on this Article 27, the $6,000. I was wondering if you can kind of go over exactly how this is gonna benefit the town a little bit better.
ClearGov?
Yeah, ClearGov, and is it worth spending this kind of money, and,
So we had a question last night at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, and it was about how we track our projects. How do we financially track our projects, their progress, and their benchmark, kind of like a Gantt tracking. This provides this not only to internal stakeholders, but to external stakeholders. So a citizen at home can see exactly what we see internally. They can see what the budget has been allocated to the project. They can see where we stand in keeping with that budget. They can see the timeline as to how we're keeping track and not overrunning timelines and expenses and that sort of thing. And, I mean, for the cost of it, $6,000 to set up, $5,000 ongoing, it replaces probably the work of 3 or 4 staff members to keep track of it to this degree and then to publicize it to the public. I think it's a good investment. And it's not just something that benefits us internally, it benefits anybody who can get online and look at the website.
there's gonna be an ongoing cost of this, though, right?
There's gonna be an ongoing cost of $4,600 annually.
So when you say it reduces the work of 3 staff members, what's your plan with that?
If
3
we wanted-
staffers?
Well, it reduces, it would reduce the work. If we wanted to produce the same product, it would take 3 staff members probably to, at minimum, to produce the same work product.
So at the Board of Selectmen meeting last night, who was inquiring about, you know, your timelines, budgets, and things like
Mr.
that?
Johnson.
Oh, so it was a Board of Selectmen member,
Yeah.
not a general public?
The issue is that we're uncovering things that, projects that where major problems have occurred and lapses have occurred, where things weren't tracked properly, and now it's causing issues, operational issues for us. For example, we applied for a grant, we didn't keep the timeline on the grant, we didn't protract the project, so we didn't complete it in time, and as a result, we weren't able to reapply for additional funding for 12 months, which I had intended to do to use towards a compensation survey. Now, if we had taken that same grant, which was the capital improvement programming that we just rolled out, that grant was awarded in 2016. Had we put that online, the $20,000 we got for it, it's a small project, but $20,000 we got for it, the status of it, how many bills we've paid towards it, where it stood in the timeline, if that was online, not only for us to see internally, but for the rest of the public to see, we'd be on track, and we would be able to be eligible for additional funding that we're now not eligible for because we lost track of a small $20,000 project. So that $4,000 expenditure that we could have spent that 1 year to track a $20,000 project cost us 20 grand in funding 12 months later because our failure to track it simply put us behind the 8 ball. So it paid for itself 5 times essentially if we had had it. That's the way I look at it.
So don't we still have to track those projects in order to update what's out there on this
We do,
ClearGov?
but we didn't.
But we'll have to for this program, correct?
We have to track it, but we don't have to do all the work surrounding tracking it. We pay an invoice, we upload it to the ClearGov people, and they track it. They create the charts. They do the timeline comparisons and so forth for us.
So if you put in there that you have a $20,000 grant that you've applied for and you have benchmark dates of, like, you have to meet these different benchmarks, does this system
It pops it right up.
send you back information, you know? You need to, today's the day that the grant is due. Today's the day, you know? Like, how is it
It's
helping
not-
you track and meet your deadlines and
Well, one thing that would help me track is that the entire community is watching it.
Well-
I mean, a project like the grant we lost track of, nobody knew it existed. There was one person that knew it existed. Maybe 1.5 people knew it existed. The one person being Michelle. The half a person was the person responsible to track it. And I say half a person because you were half paying attention to it. So I think just putting this project out into the community, just making it as public as it is, because this is not just a quarterly report, this is a monthly update, a monthly report of all the invoices we have, all the revenue sources we have, everything we've paid, every source of funding at the end of the timeline. I think something like that, particularly now that we're looking to replace our sewer infrastructure and our water infrastructure, it's almost critical that we keep the public engaged to this level, because we're talking about multi-million-dollar projects at this point. And it's something that we could never expect to do internally, to be able to track it and make it as transparent as this. There's no way.
Is there like a marketing or a benefit for having like new businesses find Dudley attractive to maybe, come to Dudley and, maybe like some of the Stevens Linen property or things like that? I mean,
So, for example, if you have a tab on the website for economic development, you click on the tab and it shows crime rate, graduation rate, SAT score averages, average cost of a home, average tax levy. You can put all that out to become attractive to people who come and live here and to set up
as
business.
opposed to somebody just going on DOE and saying, well, this is the graduation rate in Dudley, or this is this.
Correct.
Instead of somebody just going here and here and here, you basically could look everything and say, you know what, it makes sense to have a business here because they're producing kids that are graduating.
Right.
And
So if the Economic Development Committee came to us and said, for instance, like Ian just said, we want to track all this stuff and put it on our website, it would take somebody a few days internally just to gather all that information, make the charts and so forth, and it would be a one-hit thing, it wouldn't be updated constantly. This, we can simply tell them to do it, they already have this information. We can just say, we want to attach this kind of information to that tab on our website, and it's up within 24 hours, done.
Would this, oh, go
Sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
They're aggregating data from other communities as well?
It's statewide. Yeah.
And this would load up all the pilot agreements we have, the amount of what's coming in for them.
It would load up whatever we feed it.
Whatever we feed it, okay, so everything goes in. Does anybody else use this? Do you know any towns?
It's funny you say that, I just got all the solar revenue, because I know the question's gonna come out at,
Yeah.
town meeting, but there's a perfect example. It took an employee 30 minutes to get all that stuff together for me.
Right. And that's,
Took up my
to
time.
be honest
took
with you, it's one of the difficult things being on the FAA is finding it, getting information.
Tell me,
You
yeah.
know, it really is, trying to figure out, you gotta read old books and stuff like that, and,
So the FAA would have a page on the
Right.
website. The FAA could produce its own data. It's
Right.
all covered in that $4,600 expense. Economic development could produce its own data, and that's covered.
So, Mr. Chair, to the town administrator, just to simplify, so this would be a tracking and reporting service internally and externally to keep us on track and help us with savings and possibly additional funds with all eyes on. Other committees and residents can see this, which can also create productive discussions, and we can always make this grow, and it'll benefit the town.
It's absolutely, and I mean, for example, if we needed it doesn't just have to be financial data. It could be partially financial data. Let's say we needed some law enforcement tool. We could put crime rates in town, crime rates in surrounding communities. We could kind of justify the cost of this, cost in other communities, why we need this, how we hope to address, whatever the issue might be. It's not just a matter of a simple spreadsheet or a simple pie chart showing financial data. You can do comparisons to show why we want to spend this and what we think that the payoff will be based on what we're spending.
Within that service, which I'm assuming would be easy to use, and you can cross-reference and get any...
Easily.
Okay.
So you feel the benefits of doing this was gonna pay for the additional $5,000 every year because it's saving employee time and it's maybe generating funding from grants and businesses and things like that?
I think the level of service, level of data, in the spontaneity of being able to put immediate facts and figures on your website, within 12 hours, you're getting almost an entire IT department. For that kind of money I think it's an extreme bargain for $4,600 annually. We could never hope to get that level of service internally. There's no question in my mind.
Would we need an extra person to staff this?
No. No.
John,
This is all derivative of reports that already exist internally. We just give the software company the reports.
is there any other towns that are using this that you know of?
Yes.
Who-
Off the top of my head, I can certainly
Sutton
provide you with
close?
a list. Yeah. Sutton, one of them?
Well, just-
Sterling, Sutton.
I think I'd be comfortable
Yes.
looking, just, over the weekend and whatnot, taking a look at, whoever's using this, see
Yep.
what kind of data they're uploading, see what help, kind of benefit it looks like on their website. I don't know about how the rest of you feel on that.
We
Oh,
have
I
that
think it
list
would be
on.
advantageous to see kind of what it looks like for another town, how they're utilizing
Yeah,
it,
so-
for sure.
Is it possible you can send us out maybe a list of some of these towns, something similar to what Dudley is, so we can actually, see what it looks like on the website?
I'll do
how
you
they're
one better. I'll provide you with the rep. And you
That'd be
can,
great.
we'll give you all the information. We'll give you the PowerPoint. We had the treasurer sit in. We had the assessor sit in. We had,
Was that on TV?
Right here.
Is it,
we did it right here. Yeah. Well, no, it's not on TV.
it's not on
It
TV?
was, it happened during the day. It was a posted meeting.
Okay.
Did
Oh.
they give you like a test user ID where you could go in and kind of,
Well, they came with a
Around.
presentation and
okay,
they used the aggregate data from Dudley and surrounding towns and had a website up like instantaneously for us.
So do they take over the admin of the whole Town of Dudley website?
No. They're cloud-based.
Okay,
It's all data that they store for us free and separate from our website.
so we're still gonna be admin our own
Correct.
website?
Yeah, they don't
our
take
own
over anything.
Organic data.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, is there any other questions from John? You know?
No, sir.
So on this one here, I mean, I would feel comfortable if we could just do a little bit more research over the next week. You guys feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I would love to see it, yep.
And then, bring this back up, on Monday evening. We're gonna meet on Monday, just prior to the meeting. So, okay, we'll meet, and this will be an article that we can take up and make a recommendation.
Okay.
And also bear in mind, it's a one-year contract, so if we hit it after a year, we're not
Right,
married to
right,
it for
okay.
10 years.
Okay. And it's coming out of your salary anyway.
It's coming right out of my salary.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So, is anybody interested in amending the motion on this and tabling? Can I table this as a chair?
Can we table it, yeah?
Can we table this as a chair till?
I'd be
Yeah, you
careful
can
with the
table it,
wording on
but-
that.
You're gonna have to bring it up and have an agenda item on your agenda
On the agenda?
on the 28th.
Okay.
We could vote to approve all but this article and then
Right.
Right.
be taken up on.
All right, so, my suggestion is to take this up until we get some more information.
Mr. Chair, I will withdraw my motion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll take this up on Monday night then? And, yeah, if you can give us some information so we can do some quick research and.
Michelle has everybody's email address, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna step away from it and
Thank
you guys can deal directly with ClearGov.
Okay, yeah,
Very easy.
definitely, yeah. Like I say, I'd feel more comfortable just kinda looking at it and
It's
seeing
gonna-
what it is.
I think you're gonna be pretty amazed when you see it. but-
Yeah, I think it sounds fantastic, but we've entered into contracts like this before. I think we're into the Central Mass Regional Planning Authority, we gotta pay them a fee every year to do what? Give us solar pilot agreements,
Doing a lot for us.
so.
You never had me at the wheel before, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I know, so we have high hopes here, so, okay, so we'll, do a little bit more research on this and we'll have a vote on Monday night. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This is yours, right?
Thank you.
All right, so Article 27 will come back. Okay, Article 28, Town Administrator, this is to, see if the town will vote raise to an appropriate borrow or transfer, from available sums, 8,500, to put in the stormwater account.
Chair, I move to transfer the sum of $8,500 from free cash to the storm water account as set forth in Article 28 of this warrant.
Second.
Okay, do we have any, discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, take a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 29, I don't believe that has much to do with us.
Make a motion to defer Article 29 to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. Second on that,
Second.
okay. Any discussion on this? Just one thing, is the he, she thing, is that proper? Is that proper pronouns in Massachusetts? It's not he, she, maybe, or, I don't know, isn't it supposed to be? Okay. All right, so there's no discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that'll. Article 30 is a personnel board change, some changes to the personnel board. This really doesn't have much to do with money.
Just
I'll make a motion to defer Article 30 to the Board of Selectmen as well.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 31 is the Highway Department. This is to vote, raise, and appropriate from available funds $39,940 for removal and costs associated with the high priority hazard trees. We got a bunch of trees that we need to take down around town. Does anybody have any?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion transfer the sum of $30,940 from free cash for the purpose set forth in Article 31 of the warrant.
A second.
Okay, any discussion on this? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one is a petitioner's article. You guys, are you guys familiar with petitioner's article?
I am not.
Okay, this is written by, anybody can have a petitioner's article. Or something. This one here seems to come up on the warrant, I think fall warrant, just about every year for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
It's $10,000, and it's, we have some archival documents that are stored in our, where are they, downstairs, or going back several, or I think we're into the 1900s or whatever.
They've taken several old documents.
So they try to preserve these things for archival purposes.
It's very expensive.
It's very expensive. It's a petitioner's article that comes up. FAA in the past has basically deferred to the petitioner to make his own motion and then make their argument on the floor as to whether or not they should spend the $10,000, so.
And wasn't there like some kind of matching funds with it too, like it wasn't a total?
Yeah, there was, and I'm not sure if it,
If that still exists.
and it's a good question to ask the petitioner to see if there's still a, I think it's the Mauser, is it the Janet Mauser?
No, it's an anonymous donor.
It's an anonymous donor on that. So I believe the $10,000, if the town funds $10,000, somebody privately donates another $5,000. So they have $15,000 to go and do this archival preservation.
So is this petitioner a town employee?
No,
That has
no,
access
just
to
a,
these documents?
It's the Historical Commission.
Yeah, it's
The
a historical.
historical commission.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to defer to the petitioner.
Okay,
Second.
we have a second. Any more discussion on this? I will just say that there was some talk, potentially, of putting this $10,000 as part of the annual budget in the historical commissions. We had some talk about possibly doing that, but the way money runs, probably not the wisest thing. Okay. So we'll take a vote on that. So we're gonna defer to the petitioner. Okay, any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 33 is stabilization funds. We have 2 stabilization accounts. One is the capital stabilization account, and one is the regular stabilization account, so there's 2 numbers there. It was printed in the warrant for $75,000 into stabilization and $110 into capital stabilization accounts. So that's what will appear on the warrant. It doesn't need to be amended on the floor to add additional money to that. So after speaking with Jonathan, looking at the free cash amounts that was certified, putting a little bit more into these would be recommended. So if anybody wants to make a motion on that.
Mr. Chair, I move transfer the sum of $100,000 from free cash stabilization fund, $150,000 from free cash capitalization stabilization fund, as set forth in Article 33 of the warrant.
A second.
Any discussion on that? Yeah, nothing? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and that's the end of the warrant. So we will come back to visit on Monday night. Hopefully everybody can make it, is the 27th, Article 27.
What time on Monday night?
And 6:30, I think I told you.
Yeah, so if we can all be there for 6:30, it would be great.
This is the town meeting at the high
Yeah.
school.
If you want to get there a little earlier, that's fine.
It's in the cafeteria, Meg.
In the cafeteria at Shepherd Hill,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And so, we'll meet, we'll gavel in a meeting, we'll discuss that, that'll be on our agenda. We'll probably sit with the selectmen to see if there's any last-minute things that need to be altered or changed. The town council will be there, and the moderator will be there. And once we go inside, FAA will all sit together on one side.
Okay.
Okay, up front, and Ann's gonna make all the motions.
That's
like it.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you,
right,
Ann.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it.
Especially all these long ones, I'm never gonna read those.
That's why we have the
So
best
at the town
chairman.
meeting, we're going through all of these warrant items again and making
Yeah.
our motions again on every single
Yeah,
one?
yeah, like I say, what we voted on to recommend, and I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Whatever we deferred, we'll let either the selectmen or whoever wants to defer.
So
this-
you're making all the motions?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. I guess that's it. Is there any miscellaneous you guys want to discuss going forward for next year, or?
Just learning.
We will probably have maybe one or two meetings early next year, maybe January, February, just to see where we stand for budget talks and stuff like that. I'm hoping the superintendent of the Dudley Charlton School wants to sit down and do his, provide us with information about the school, what they're looking to do and stuff. Last few years, we were able to meet with the Charlton Finance and the Board of Selectmen and the school members and stuff like that, and just kind of get a roundtable discussion as to, where the school is gonna need to be on,
Just referring to Shepherd Hill at this point?
basically,
Yeah, like the Dudley Charlton region.
Dudley Charlton.
Early Charlton
Regional,
region,
right.
yeah. So see where they want to be, as far as what budget they want and what they're trying to do, and we try to find out as much as we can. So it's a lot of information stuff there. So I'm hoping the new superintendent is willing to do the same thing, continue that tradition, because it does help when you're, when they're talking. I mean, there's not a lot of solutions other than overrides to get any more money, but it's informative, so you get to understand the foundation budget, how it works for the school. They do a good job explaining all that stuff.
So that'd be
All
good.
right,
Be helpful.
anything else?
No?
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
do I have a second?
For a second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, well,
You.
meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.